A new area of research is suggesting that inflammation in the brain and mast cell activation could play an important role in autism for some autistic people. But is it just another attempt to cure autism? And what even is a mast cell? Let's go. Welcome, my stars of Orion. Thank you so much for watching. I'm orionkelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. Okay, some new research is shedding light on the role of mast cells, a key part of our immune system in brain inflammation and autism. That's the research looking into the role mast cells play in immune system, brain inflammation, and autism. But as promising as these findings may well be, they raise big questions. So let's explore the science behind mast cells and autism. First up, what are mast cells? Bloody good question, my friend. Bloody good question. Now, I'm not a doctor or a scientist or, a researcher. I'm just an autistic guy that is interested in things. And what I've found is mast cells are a type of immune cell that helps protect your body from infections and injuries. In case you're wondering, in my accent's weird, spelt M-A-S-T, mast, and then cells. You know I'm saying cells, right? Not seashells by the seashore. I don't mean she sells. No, I mean she sells. No, hang on. Not she sells, but cells. Her cells, not she cells, right? Forget it. Bottom line is mast cells are like guards stationed throughout your body, including in your skin, your gut, even your brain. Now, mast cells release chemicals like histamine and, there's going to be words I'm going to try and say. I might not say them right. Let's go with cytokines. So when they're triggered, they release those types of chemicals. Now, these chemicals, they're important in allergic reactions, like hay fever. That must be why I take an antihistamine. Yes, but also they affect inflammation and communication between the gut and the brain. I'm pretty sure as autistic people you may have heard of or may already know but not know it's a thing, the gut-brain connection. That's a thing for everyone. But having a different brain means you have a different gut-brain connection. That's a whole nother topic, but kind of related to this. So in autistic people, it's being suggested that mast cells may overreact to certain triggers. So stress, infections, environmental toxins, these types of things may cause inflammation to our brain. As autistic people, mast cells may overreact to these certain triggers. So let's explore how mast cell activation is connected to autism. We'll start off with brain inflammation. It's a common finding in autistic people, as per this particular field of mast cell research. So some of those studies have shown that certain chemicals linked to inflammation are higher in the brains and spinal fluid of autistic people. I need a minute. These chemicals can come from mast cells or microglia. Microglia? You take it or leave it. It's just another type of brain immune cell. Okay, and I should know. I'm a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not. Both of which may be overactive in autistic people. Here's another one. Unexplained allergy-like symptoms. So we're talking about the connection between mast cell activation and autism. Is there something you can relate to with regards to unexplained allergies or symptoms? Many autistic people actually can talk about having symptoms that seem like allergies. So experiencing symptoms that seem like allergies. Okay, so what's an example? Skin rashes, digestive problems, even food sensitivities. But we don't always test positive for these allergies. So it's like, okay, cool. Let's test for these allergies. No, you're fine. Okay, but I'm still experiencing the symptoms like I have these allergies. So this is a massive barrier for autistic people. Research suggests these symptoms might come from mast cells being activated in non-allergic ways, so possibly by stress or even certain foods. Now, this could help explain why traditional allergy treatments don't always work for us as autistic people. Let's bury on in to the world of gut-brain connection, because I love this world. The gut and brain are closely linked through what's called the gut-brain axis, or the axis of evil. That's not true. Mast cells in the gut can release chemicals that make the lining of the intestines more leaky. That's the scientific word, leaky, allowing harmful substances to escape into the bloodstream and reach the brain. Now, this leaky gut, I'm not joking, by the way. They actually put this in the research. This leaky gut could play a role in worsening behaviors and sensory issues in autistic people by triggering inflammation in our brain. This particular connection might be something that will take your breath away for someone who is looking to potentially have kids or has given birth to kids who have gone on to be diagnosed autistic. Another connection between mast cell activation and autism is stress. That's right, stress during pregnancy. Stress during pregnancy, including high levels of a stress hormone called CRH, can activate mast cells in the baby's developing brain. Now, again, just from research, but think about this. If this was even remotely true, being stressed while pregnant, having high levels of stress hormones released, including CRH, may well activate mast cells, not in yours, in the baby's developing brain. Now, this could disrupt brain development and, in effect, and it's not my words, in effect, as the research states, could increase the risk of autism. It also talks about babies born prematurely or those exposed to stress in early life also seem to have a higher risk of ASD, possibly because their gut and brain connection, or whatever you want to call it, their gut-brain barriers are not fully developed, making them more vulnerable to toxins and inflammations. I'm absolutely going to critique and react. I'm just getting the stuff out here first, okay? The first thing some people would go is, well, Orion, stress early in life can't make you autistic because you can only be born autistic. You don't acquire it later in life. So already there's a big hole in there. That's wrong, okay? This research is wrong in that particular state, but it does make a really interesting point with regards to stress in pregnancy. In basic terms, summarizing the research, studies have shown that kids with conditions involving overactive mast cells are much more likely to actually be autistic kids compared to the general population, compared to their neurotypical peers. In autistic children, researchers have found higher levels of mast cell-related markers, and now here's another word I'm going to try to say, okay? Mitochondrial DNA, well, one or the other, which can cause inflammation. So environmental factors like air pollution, heavy metals, infections may act as triggers for mast cell activation, especially in kids with a genetic predisposition to inflammation. The words of research, not me. But how could the research actually help autistic people? What does the research state as proposed benefits of even knowing this connection or looking into this connection? Number one, research says by targeting mast cells, you can target mast cells to reduce inflammation. So natural compounds have been shown to calm down mast cells in lab studies. And these substances can actually reduce inflammation in the brain and gut, potentially improving your life as an autistic person. What are those compounds? Well, luteolin, I believe, is one, and the other one is quercetin or something. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm just reading it from the research. Another benefit, preventing problems during pregnancy. Okay, so the benefit would be lowering stress and inflammation during pregnancy might help protect the baby's brain development. This could include managing maternal anxiety, reducing exposure to toxins, and ensuring proper prenatal care. Of course, this may well sound to a lot of autistic people, certainly late diagnosed autistic people, as some would say eugenics, as a form of Do this and you probably won't have an autistic kid. Now, of course, that's ridiculous, but what's the benefit? The benefit seems here to be based on benefiting the pregnant woman, not benefiting the child. We go, well, hang on a second, less stress is good for the child. Yes, that's right. But then that's based on a connection that in stopping this, then you won't have an autistic child. That's obviously not the case. Okay, so another purported benefit by the research, protecting the brain's defenses. So the blood-brain barrier, BBB, acts like a shield, prevents harmful substances from reaching the brain. Mast cell activation can make the BBB leaky. Again, with leak, they love leaky, leading to inflammation. So medications or supplements that protect the BBB could reduce brain inflammation in autistic people. Breathe. Breathe. Take a breath. Breathe. It's time to react, respond, critique. While the mast cell theory provides an exciting-ish angle on autism research, it's important to consider alternative perspectives and limitations. So let's talk about correlation versus causation. So just because mast cells and inflammation are linked to autism doesn't mean they cause it. It's possible they're a result of another underlying process rather than the root cause. For instance, increased inflammation might be a byproduct of stress, infections, or other immune system disruptions. Diverse causes of autism is another argument here. Autism is a spectrum. Every autistic person is different. No autistic person is more or less autistic. We may have more or less daily support and care needs, but we're either autistic or we are not. The condition varies greatly between all of us. So what might be true for a subgroup, like those with mast cell hypersensitivity, may not apply at all to other autistic people. Genetic factors, brain development differences, and environmental triggers are all involved in autism. Focusing too much on just one pathway oversimplifies the complexity of autism. Another counter-argument is this lack of large-scale studies. Now, most studies linking mast cells and autism are small or observational. Many studies rely on markers of inflammation or parent-reported symptoms, which, as we know, can be subjective or inconsistent. The idea of treatment or cure is another core counter-argument here. Okay, so this idea of treatment, and this research definitely talks about, if we can utilize the mast cell activation and, do this and do that to it and fix it or whatever, we can decrease the symptoms of autism. So the idea of treatment or cure for autism, it's complex, it's controversial, and the autistic community as a rule don't even see the need. Okay, so if you said, Orion, is life good? Is life easy being autistic? No, it's not. Would you like some help? That'd be bloody great. Okay, great. So that means you want a cure? No, I didn't say I want a cure. Like, this is me. If you cured me, I wouldn't exist, right? I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be me. I don't know who I'd be. This is me. I want to be me. But you want your life to be better. Yeah, that's right. So you want me to give you medicine for your symptoms? What symptoms? There's no medicine for my symptoms. You're saying you can give me medicine so when I walk out into the outside world, it will tell my brain the nonverbal cues, the communication, the interaction challenges, it'll all go away. Or if I go into a noisy, crowded environment, the sensory sensitivities, the sounds, the smells. Is that what you're saying? I won't feel dysregulated by every little thing. What medicine are you talking about? There's no medicine. What do you mean? Right? So there's no treatments for autism. There's no cure for autism. It is not a disease. It's a neurodevelopmental condition, medically recognized worldwide as a disability. And yes, being autistic disables my life when I go into the outside world and the world don't give a shit about me being autistic. So while some treatments may aim to address medical symptoms or even improve quality of life, the concept of treatment is problematic. The treatment is the world accepting there are autistic people who are different and actually allowing that, just allowing it. You don't have to give us an award. You don't have to clap. No standing ovations. So you need to look at how you view autism. Many autistic people, like me, see autism as an inherent part of us. So it's not something that needs to be fixed. It is us. We are autistic. We don't have autism. We are autistic. See, what makes you autistic is your brain. If you don't have a brain, you are dead, my friend. Okay, so I have this with coffee in it, right? I have a cup with coffee in it. Bloody delicious. I don't have autism in a cup or a bag. I am autistic. The efforts to treat autism risk erasing the very identity, the very person that we are, the way we experience the world. You know, there's this neurodiversity movement. Okay. Well, is it neurodiversity? I don't know. I'm getting agitated now. I apologize. So, okay. So this movement, there's a movement that basically promotes the idea that we have neurological differences. Now, so people go, I'm autistic, I'm neurodiverse. Well, you're not, unless you have two brains. Diversity needs two things. If you invest all your money in one thing, that's not a diversity of investment. So if you have one brain, you're not diverse. If you walk into a room with a neurotypical person, both of you together have created a neurodiverse environment, but neither of you can do it alone. Okay, so you are not neurodiverse if you're autistic. You could be neurodivergent if that word works for you, or you could just be bloody autistic. I mean, there's a word for everything. I'm getting really agitated, man. Anyway, I apologize. So autism is part of humanity. It's a natural part of human diversity. Some might argue evolution. Either way, it's not new. It's not new. You could argue, just as much as you could argue mast cells are a thing, you could argue that neurotypicals are Homo sapiens and autistic people are Neanderthals. Well, they're gone, Orion. They're gone, mate. That's true, but it could be argued that at some point, though, during that period, they did cross-mate, so it's in the system. And in addition to that, why? Well, they weren't so big about groups, big groups or, herds. They kind of like to be alone in small groups by themselves. And they were very, peaceful and quiet and quite smart with tools. And they, in effect, just got ganged up on by an angry mob. You could argue that. Regardless, what we look for is acceptance, understanding, inclusion, support. That's what we're looking for. See, we're not saying, hey, we're autistic people. Can you guys please do some studies on mast cells and try and cure us? Like, we're just not. We're just not. We're not. That's the counter argument to that. Oh, no, but all the money the governments give all these organizations across the planet, all they're doing is using all that government money, taxpayer money, to come up with a way of curing autism or treating autism. Okay, but last time I checked, most autistic people aren't looking for that. So why are you spending money trying to create something that isn't actually wanted? It's bloody stupid. Another counter-argument is harmful practices. Historically, many autistic people, and even their families, their loved ones, are very wary, absolutely are aware of treatments historically that were harmful, that were unethical, aversive therapies, forced normalization, experimental treatments and cures. This is another counter-argument to the mere idea that this is where our money should be going. Oh, and it's the mast cells and brain inflammation, and we can reverse it. Another argument I want to bring up is this focus on compliance over authenticity. There are behavioral therapies, you well know, that are criticized because they prioritize not actually providing therapy for an autistic person, but teaching an autistic person, making an autistic person learn how to fit in with neurotypical standards. It's dehumanizing. It's dismissive. It's not natural. Just like I can't get you to be autistic today as a neurotypical person, you can't get me to be neurotypical. It's like me saying, okay, I tell you what, let's swap. Today I want you to experience the world as an autistic person. Now you got to go, well, hang on, I've got a neurotypical brain. I can act, but I can't really do that. I can't do that. Yes, I know, but then here's the thing. You community at large are telling me, an autistic person, that's actually what I have to do. But you know you can't do it. So why do you think I can? It's just comply. You must comply. What does that mean? Be neurotypical. But I've got an autistic brain. We don't care. Right? Can you do it? No. Okay. But you want me to do it? Yes. Okay. Individual needs. Autism is a spectrum. Not every autistic person experiences the same challenges. We have different care needs, support needs, challenges. One thing we are in common is autistic. So, yep, some can face some pretty severe medical issues. We may have other co-occurring conditions because none of these issues are part of autism, right? So we may have other co-occurring conditions. Fair enough, no worries. But blanket treatments are inappropriate. They don't actually help because the blanket treatment says all autistic people must be treated, must be cured, are broken, must be fixed. But last time I checked, where's the autistic community saying, please fix us? We're the problem, please fix us. Nah, we have unique abilities. Many autistic people actually attribute their unique abilities, creativity, focus, problem-solving abilities to being autistic. Yes, it's actually a fear of some autistic people that if the science world can progress enough, there may be treatments that actually change their attributes, their skills, their passions. Like some sort of medicine that will turn off my ability to be creative. In other words, there's a fear that science creates some sort of treatment or cure, medical treatment or cure, that all really does is dull, numb our strengths, our attributes, our individuality, what makes us, in our minds, special. That's not useful. Let's talk about pathologizing traits. Okay, so autistic people, we view traits like our ability to focus, intense focus, sensory sensitivities, these different things, way of looking at things differently, problem solving, seeing patterns, blah, 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 as advantages, obviously in the right context. I don't see my sensory sensitivities as an advantage all the time. But sometimes it helps if you can hear something or smell something before everyone else, right? And sometimes intense focus is great. And seeing patterns and right and wrong is great. Not always, especially if they don't want to hear it. But you see what I'm saying? But no, the world at large sees them as deficits, as challenges, which merely invalidates everything we actually viewed as positive, useful traits. So nothing we do is good. It's all a challenge or a deficit. We really have to shift focus from treatment to accommodations. And this isn't hard, by the way. So instead of trying to change autistic people, we need to start to look at how we can help make the world more accommodating. This just means understanding a little bit more about autism and autistic people, the person in your life, and working out how you can help them. Is it about the environment? Is it about how you communicate? Is it about some understanding and acceptance? In other words, accepting they are different and this is what's good about it. This is what you don't like about it. But understanding why it's like that. Autonomy is a big thing for autistic people. And no, it doesn't only mean what some would class as low care and support needs autistic people. No. All autistic people seek and want autonomy to some degree. We often emphasize the importance of autonomy. Why? Because the world at large don't see us as valid. We're not entitled to freedom of choice, to autonomy. So as a result, you, the world at large, will decide what we need, what we get. You will decide the treatments that we get, not us. So what's helpful for one autistic person isn't helpful for another, let alone a neurotypical person saying, I'm going to work on this to help everyone. We have to differentiate too between medical and social needs. So in the autistic community, you're going to find a lot of people have co-occurring medical conditions. And they treat them. Maybe it's epilepsy, maybe it's anxiety, gastrointestinal problems. Really, the list goes on. Okay, but we've well and truly drawn the line. There is no line below. We've never occurred to us that we should also treat autism. It's not a medical condition that requires treating or fixing, right? Okay, so it is a condition, absolutely, and it's medically recognized disability. It's a medically recognized disability. It's not a disease. There's a difference. So it doesn't require intervention. And by the way, not only doesn't it require intervention, but we're told we are intervening and here's how we're going to intervene and we don't care what you think. Then it comes down to, well, who told you you could define the treatment in the first place? Non-autistic people are defining the science, the research, the approaches, the treatment. So non-autistic people, for the most part, are setting the agenda. They are defining, working on, providing what they think is right for autistic people. So decisions made about treatments, cures, therapies, anything to improve the lives of autistic people made by non-autistic people, non-autistic researchers, clinicians, parents, don't get off scot-free, rather than autistic people speaking for themselves in the way that works for them. The need for autistic voices in shaping treatment priorities and policies of any kind is past the point of getting there. We're past the point. We've got there and we've gone past it. Enough is enough. It's one thing to look at new and exciting research, but it's another thing to just go, yep, that's great. You've got it, and that's what we've done today. You've got to dig deeper and go, what is this actually trying to say? What is it actually trying to do? Last time I checked from reading all this seems very much aligned to treatment and cure. And again, where's the autistic benefit in this? There is none. Autism manifests in many different ways, and autistic people must navigate through a forest of co-occurring conditions. So let's go on a choose your own adventure, my friends. To learn more, you need to choose your next path. Will it be my playlist, Autism Diagnosis for Adults, or my playlist, Co-occurring Conditions?